Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friday release team meeting. This is the release cycle for Kubernetes 1.25. Today is Friday, July the 27th, I believe. Yes. And yeah, welcome. Please be mindful that this is a Kubernetes community meeting, so it falls under the Kubernetes code of conduct, which can be summarized to be just excellent to each other. And yeah, my name is Leonard or Leo, and I will be the host today. I will quickly share the meeting notes. Share screen, I hope. Wait, it says unknown. Oh, damn it. I have a new notebook, so I have to allow that I can share my screen, which is a bummer. I have to rejoin this meeting, sorry. Ray, or somebody claim the host quickly so we do not lose the recording?
Oh, you could just right click on someone and just make them a host.
Okay.
For some reason, I no longer see the reclaim host button on Zoom when I updated.
Wait, I will change host. And I will rejoin in a second.
All right, see you soon. That's fast. The host, let me make you the host.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Now it's working. Great. All right. So now we are set up. Let's go over the meeting notes. Yes. So the first open discussion topic is from Ray. It's about the exception request, which
did you record?
Which we received.
Yeah. Did you start with the recording cloud yet? Let's see it on. Okay, so there's an exception request for Gluster FS deprecation, which is also in the enhancement section as well. But it was an email and what was that to SIG-ARC and SIG storage. And then they filed the exception request and put the links out that Priyanka added for the exception request email and the tracking issue as well. That's it for me.
Yep, I saw that also Lims commented in the mailing list, and I think CC also now commented to accept this exception request. So we will see. Probably this is fine. Then moving on to the next one, just one note. This week we had the first retrospective meeting, so part 1. There will be another part 2 and maybe also part 3 at the end of the cycle. So if you have any suggestions how to improve this release team, this program, shadow program, or anything around the release cycle, feel free to add your comments, and we would appreciate any input, feedback, whatever. Okay, moving on to enhancements. Parul, I see you're in the meeting.
Yeah, so there aren't many huge differences from the past meeting, just that we received the exception request which Ray and you talked about, so that's it. Otherwise the status remains the same and we are currently yellow because of the huge number of enhancements that are currently at risk, but we are trying to reach out to the KEP authors and have the follow-ups as to where their enhancement has reached and update those update the status of those enhancements.
Okay, thank you.
Since code freeze is next week, we should send out some communication emails to the various mailing lists, like the KDev or Dev now, and also possibly the SIG leads email address as well. Could we usually give them a warning on like when the code freeze is approaching? So we should send out some comms on that.
Yeah, I believe this is also documented on the timeline. Let me quickly check. Should be. If I go down, I think CC also wrote in her updates something about the code freeze, so that we have to send out the email. Yeah. Next big milestone. All right, moving on to CI Signal. I believe nobody from the team joined the meeting.
Yeah, no one joined, but took a look at it.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's two failing that are being tracked, and there's one failing in SIG release master blocking, and one failing in SIG release rel engineering blocking.
Yeah, I think the one failing, I also took a quick look a few minutes ago. I think the one failing just failed once, the one a couple of hours ago. So maybe there's nothing serious going on. But I think we have a new release cut next week or so. So we have to definitely keep an eye on those. Moving on to bactriage, Hossein.
So things looks fine from our side. We are green, so we are reaching to the code freeze next week. So we are reaching out to the pull request owners or issue followers, telling them that keep in mind, the code freeze is coming, and if they can still stick to the milestone. That's all from our side.
Thank you. Then for docs, Ray kindly posted again the comment. Docs placeholder PR deadline.
Ray is taking care of all the teams.
He's doing all the work. No.
Yeah, it's along with code freeze, we typically have the docs placeholder PR right a few days after code freeze, so that's going to be next week. I'm sure they're in yellow status because it's typical for contributors to wait until around code freeze to actually make the docs placeholder PR. But I did see quite a few on in the K website repo, but it's normal, unfortunately.
Do we actually have it also some overview like we have for bactriage for docs? Would it make sense to have like this enhancement or like a change in the way we, I don't know, communicate the state of docs? Would it make sense?
Yeah, it's we usually track it like the enhancements teams track it, like how many are tracked or how many are missing docs placeholder PR. We usually communicate the docs placeholder PR deadline with other communications, so we'll typically add it and as part of the code freeze announcement as well. So we don't have to like send multiple communications. We could just have a line in the code freeze enhancement, in the code freeze email.
Yeah, and I mean, it also does not make sense to have the entire cycle basically, right? Only at the end of the cycle, if there's the PRs are created and so on, and after we know which caps to look at and stuff. All right, release notes. Carlos, I think nobody's here but Ray.
My suggestion is to start to think about major themes, especially once code freeze once we hit code freeze, so we know what caps are actually going to make it into the release, and we could a lot of times we have to highlight which enhancements would make good major themes, and we might have to bring that up to SIGs as well. So some things like big removals, which we have one for 125, would be a major theme.
I think last time we had, I don't know when the issue opened, but we had an issue discussing the major themes. Is this issue already opened, or do we need to create this issue first?
I think we need to create the issue.
Okay. So maybe this is something I can keep in mind and then write in chat and or ask about in the team. Yeah. Okay. Going to comms. I think nobody's here. I expect at the moment there's nothing going on in comms, not really, right? Maybe also in the same direction as with release notes, also discussing major themes and then reaching out to the SIGs about blog posts and stuff like that.
Yeah, they actually have a good number, or a decent
Okay.
number already, so that's pretty good.
So we're good on that side. Then branch management, also not here. I think at the moment we're kind of in a good shape. Just judging from CS signal, only have one fitting in master informing and one in blocking. But as I said earlier, the blocking one just failed once, so I think we are right now fine. Yeah. All right, then finally your update, Ray.
Yes. So as Leo mentioned, we had the first retro held a few 2 days ago, or on Wednesday, and we'll have additional ones at the end of the release. I'll tag some folks and some action items to do from the first retro. The biggest announcement is that the mid-cycle shadow survey is out. I sent that to the release team shadows email list or email group. So hopefully you got it. Hopefully it's not in your spam box. If it is, there's the link on the agenda that will take you to the form. Please complete the shadow survey by next Friday, end of day next Friday. And it's very insightful. We're always in a continuous improvement. We always like to continuously improve the release team and the shadow process as well. So please feel free to fill that out. Sorry, too many alliteration there. So, all right, and that's it for me.
One question about the survey. Is this something that I don't remember that we pick up this information at the end, like in the retro or something?
Yeah.
This is not the case, or?
It's usually it's not picked on the retro, because we actually do a second survey at the end as well. And usually the end of the cycle surveys, there's actually two. One is for role leads and one is for shadows. And so in the mid-cycle shadow survey is good because we could course correct if there's if there's a shadow that feels like that there's a gap in the process or some knowledge transfer. I could help and course correct that during the cycle. The end of the shadow survey, or the end of cycle shadow surveys, sometimes we do put retro items as a result from this shadow survey and from the end of cycle shadow survey. We don't really, we may not point it out that it came from the surveys, because the surveys are supposed to be anonymous, but I'm the one who actually has access to who the people who filled them out, but I do anonymize that data after.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think this helps a lot, improving the program and everything. So
yeah,
would be awesome if everybody could fill this out. And then to the last update, CC couldn't make it today to this meeting, but she wrote a couple of things down, so I'll just read it out, I think. So first to the release schedule. So this is also, can also paste the link in a second. So we have under SIG release a timeline, basically just describing the milestones of this release. And next up we have code freeze, as Ray also mentioned before, next week. So we have to send out the email announcing that and so on. Then we also have the first beta cut next week. Box placeholder PR next week, deprecation removal blog posts, test freeze in 2 weeks. So we have a couple of milestones coming up. So I think we are getting slowly into a more busy area, or I don't know, time of the release cycle. So a few teams will definitely see an increase of work and so on. And that's about the release schedule. There's an update with Go.1.19. A couple of PRs merged. So I think this is all looking good. As far as I remember last time, there's a couple of weeks between the release of 1.19 from Golang and our release, so the Kubernetes release, so we should have enough time to adopt a new version and do not have any problems. Then there is exactly the exception request, which Ray and Parul already mentioned. So there's one library which is going into deep maintenance. So it's basically the organization Hecate, what is it? Hecate? Or this is also a tool which is basically getting archived. So we will deprecate it in Kubernetes and then remove it in 1.26 probably. And yeah, there are a couple of links about discussions around this. And this is it from this point. 6 scalability, I cannot see any updates. Looking at the last one. Status green. There are some issues displaying. So it seems like there's like some small issues, but nothing concerning. So the status is green. I guess this is the same now. And with that, we are at the end of this wonderful meeting. I hope everybody had fun. And I will, if there are like any last comments, you can shoot now. Otherwise, I will stop the recording. And everybody has a nice end of Friday. Okay. Stop sharing.